Someday I wish upon a star.
Stop share. Nice, that's the end. Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining. This is more of an informal opportunity for everyone. We have some people that wanted to share their memories, their times with Bob and their stories. So we have some people who have already said that they would love to speak, and then we of course will open it up to anyone else who wants to share a funny anecdote or a story that they have about Bob. This is less ceremonial and just more a celebration, an opportunity for people to be able to share how much they love Bob. And so I'm going to go ahead, and I know some people are still coming in. I want to go ahead and I'll start. And I know my daughters want to say their piece. I know Bill
Can't hear it very well.
say as well. So I wanted to share what I read today at the ceremony, and I know everyone in here knows Bob for his genuine dimple cheek smile and loved him for it. I know that's exactly why I fell in love with him. And as I know it was love at first sight that day, he brought Brooke into La Petite Daycare, where I was working when I was going to George Mason. Bob always told me if he didn't have Brooke, he and I would have never met. So it was meant to be. We became true partners in crime, us against the world, and we never wanted to do anything else with anyone else. He was the big Papa Bear protector for the family, and his bear hugs were like no other. My grandma says they were her favorite. He is the protector for my mom. He's always there and always saying, "Nothing's impossible. We've got this, Mom. We're going to get through this." And he took care of her wholeheartedly. We never had a decision that wasn't made together or as a family. He wanted to be there for dance competitions because family was exceptionally important to him. He was there for Tori's volleyball games, and his girls were the center of his universe. Even if he complained that his one vacation or not so busy weekend was going to be sitting in an auditorium or on the bleachers, he loved cheering his girls on, and he was their champion supporter. Bob was known best with me and the girls for his awkward dance moves here in the living room, to his big band string music. And he loved to cheer them up when they were down. And so he'd always make them dance in his awkward way with his, always had some good dad jokes added in there too. For his friends, he was always known for not necessarily being the timeliest person for their events, but the best part was when he did arrive, how they all greeted him and were waiting to just have fun as soon as he showed up. He loved and looked up to his brothers fiercely, and no matter what, he always wanted to make sure they were proud of him. He lived for even the shortest opportunities to talk with them and have their support and guidance through all their life's decisions. And my sister-in-law said it best today. She said Bob was the glue that held the family together. And that statement I truly agree with. So Bob had two goals in life, and they were kind of funny ones. One was always to win the lottery. He'd always say, "Mel, check the numbers today. This could be our day. This could be the one." And of course, finally, owning a boat of his own. He loved boating, and he would share the stories of when he and his dad and his brothers would have misadventures with the family, and for all the trips that they took. whether it was they're taking their tiny boat out in the major waves of the Atlantic, or enjoying the Boston Harbor. And all while we experienced our own fun boat trips as a family and our adventures with friends in Lake Anna or in Florida, riding along the intercoastal in Sarasota. I know he lived for those opportunities and memories made with family and friends. And at this time, I know that we are his golden girls, and we will be here to continue to make him proud. And he'll be smiling that dimple cheek smile while he's captain of that boat he always wanted. And that is for
You
sure.
understand it?
Tori, do you want to go ahead and say?
Do
Mute ours.
Hi.
I am here.
No, you just have to turn down the volume.
We got it. Good. Yay.
Hello. Tori Golden. I'm
The
Rob.
baby.
I'm the baby of the family.
That's cool.
Should I just say that? I just want to say a few words.
There we
Oh,
are.
there we go.
There.
Hello. There are certain things that will always remind me of my dad. He had certain scents that he always chose to wear or that he always liked. He loved orange blossom, honey lotion, Curve cologne, and vitamin C orange gummies, which were the nastiest things in the entire universe. My dad was the funniest and funnest, most heartwarming teddy bear you would have ever met, and everything could all be fixed with just one of his hugs. I can't explain in words how much I miss them. All of my memories with him are full of the most fun adventures, like playing hooky in the morning before school just to have a daddy-daughter date at McDonald's and sit in the parking lot making fun of really bad drivers or talking about cars that we really liked. He really truly was my favorite person to have a conversation with. When I think into the future, it's really hard to imagine a life without him there, and it will be an empty chair where he should be at my graduation, or I'll have to walk down the aisle alone at my wedding. But I know that in the end, he's up there on a boat with Ninny, Grandpa Jack, and Papa Herb, and he's having a blast. And when we need him, he'll be there. Lastly, my dad was one of my biggest motivators. Not only did he motivate me because I wanted to make him proud, but I always knew that he was proud of me no matter what I did. I hope he knew that I appreciated all that motivation, and in the end, he will see me reach my dreams just like we always talked about. You truly meant so much to me, Dad, and I hope that you know how much I really appreciated what you did for me and all the memories that we have now that I can cherish for now and forever. You truly were the best dad ever.
And now it's your turn, Brooke.
Introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Brooke. I'm the oldest child. I just wanted to kind of share something that I shared with everyone earlier today. To my guardian angel, there are so many things I wish I could have said before all of this happened, so I guess I will say them now since I know you're listening. Dad, you are my everything, and you were my...
It's okay.
Yeah.
Just breathe.
It's okay. It's okay for you.
Sorry. You were my first love and the person I could always confide in when I was at my lowest. You were my role model, my best friend, and the best father I could ever ask for. I cherish all the times we had together, and although I wish I had more time, I know that you're in a better place. Because of you, I know my worth and what I deserve, and I promise to make you proud one way or another. I love you, Dad, so much more than you'll ever know. This is not goodbye. This is I will see you later.
How do I pin us now?
Hi.
Okay, we'll turn our volume down.
So if anybody can see me yet,
Not yet.
nope.
Where you got your pen?
How
How do you unpin Brooke? I don't think I pinned you.
Oh, now it's going to.
Let's see.
Are you unmuted?
I don't know where I am.
At the top.
Here at the top,
But it just says rename.
Okay, no, okay, so go
So
over
scroll
the
over.
arrows.
to the
At the
arrows
top.
at the top.
At the
to
The
left.
very first one.
There we go. There we go. Go here and then pin. There we go.
There we go. Sorry,
We're learning.
This is like, first day of school and we're just trying to figure out how to use Zoom properly. Hi, I'm Binna and Jack's middle son, Bill. I wanted to just take an opportunity to talk to you all about my little brother, Bob. We've followed this process basically from my mom's passing, and the Zoom call was seemed to be very, very important. We wanted to follow this format. It's, as Melissa was alluding to earlier, it's more of a casual process, storytelling. My beautiful nieces were amazingly heartfelt in their responses, as well as my sister-in-law. But I think when I think of Bob, I tend to smile. Bob was a light in my life from the first day he was born and until the last day I got to speak with him. So when I close my eyes and visualize Bob, it's from that montage of photographs a little bit earlier. It's probably the one with the curly hair and the big smile on his face, and a bit younger than some of these other photographs. And that's who I see, and that's the memories that came flashing before my eyes when this all unfolded. So I think I would like to start with a story that many of the relatives of Ida Golden probably could relate to, but she had a fondness for something called the pussy willow.
Oh, God.
And
I remember this story.
the pussy willow was a big thing. We would have to gather and cut pussy willow branches and put it on display. And it's something that my mom kind of adopted too. So we had a pussy willow tree as well. And it was, we'd cut them, and my mom had this big display in the living room where, of course, no one was ever allowed to be in. Didn't have the plastic on the sofa and stuff like that, but it might as well, because no one was allowed to ever go in there. But one day, Bob and I just, one pussy willow mentioned too many, and we started to laugh. We just started to laugh at the name of pussy willow. And, for a few moments it was okay, but after we got into about 24 hours of not being able to stop laughing and not being able to look at each other, not being able to even catch an eye of anything, we realized we had a crisis on our hands. We really weren't sure that our hearts would hold up and we'd be able to still breathe at the end of the day. So we decided to take my mom's display of pussy willows and hide them down in my dad's workshop. So we hid them deep inside the workshop, came back up. About 2-3 days later, I think Bob and I could get over the mental gymnastics of not laughing again. And sure enough, we're downstairs by the entry of our house. So those of you that remember the Levendane Roadhouse in Lexington, it was, right by the curio cabinet, right by the front door, near the kitchen. And Bob and I were talking, and my mom appears, hands at her hips, looks at us. She says, "Where's my pussy willows?" Well, that was a tragic moment in Bob and my life, because we could not breathe. We immediately hit the ground laughing. She did it again, put hands go back. "I'm serious. Where's my pussy willows?" Bob and I got into a deep state of hysterical laughter where it was so bad that even our dog Fluffy at the time laid down on the floor and was joining in because he didn't know what the heck we were doing, but it looked like fun. So lo and behold, that really went on for quite some time. At the time, the best thing that any kid can do is just deny. So we're just like, we don't know. We both had to run out of the house. Eventually, we did go back down and get them. But when you have a special relationship with someone from your childhood, I think everybody can relate to that person that you just had those laugh fits with, that you laughed harder than you ever thought you could. Stopping was impossible. I can think of time and time again where Bob and I, who grew up in the same room from the time he was born till the time he was 10, would spend many a nights laughing the same way. I really thought my brother was the most hysterical person in the world. You know, maybe second to me, but his has a uncanny, I don't know, extremely witty and brilliant sense of humor who, you know, I'm not sure our kids thought the same way because most of our kids would just roll their eyes at us, whether it was his family or my family. But I just laugh and I smile. And even now, if I shut my eyes, I can see his grin and I can see those dimples and I can see that curly hair on top of his head. And he was just an awesome little brother who I admired. In my own way, I looked up to him as much as he would look up to Brad or myself. And he was just simply the greatest gift I could have ever had. And the thought of heading now into a future where he's not here to celebrate some of these life moments and some of these family moments, and especially given that it's 5 months and a day since my mom passed. And, you know, Brad and I now live with we're a family of 5, now we're a family of 2. You know, my dad passed earlier on, but we've lost basically half our living family in just a matter of months. And so, you know, we march on. Now we want to make sure that the next generation appreciates what they have and what they have now. We want to make sure that the generation that follows behind us reaches greater plateaus and accomplishments than anything we've been able to. But most importantly is appreciate love. You know, if you think of the COVID ramifications of our lives, it's impacted the whole way we can celebrate together, we can sympathize together, we can hurt together or be happy together. So hopefully there's some happy moments that come in the near future, because this past year of really not being able to share feelings with one another is hurtful. You know, this is a wonderful stopgap step of people being able to be with the other people, but it's never going to replace being together. So, you know, the important part is all the families appreciate what we have. Try not to make the same mistakes twice. Try to love each other, put aside differences. And we have just an incredible group of people that wanted to make some comments and words to the group. So I'm not going to take much more time, but I will re-emphasize that not being able to celebrate or communicate some of these difficult moments with each other, we will have an event probably in September or October in Lexington, Massachusetts, that's going to share in the memory of both my mother and my brother Bob. And at that time, we pray that COVID restrictions are down, that people can get together again and share things as a group and family. So with that, we're gonna turn attention to my uncle.
Actually, hold on, my mom first. And then
Oh,
Uncle.
so hang on, I messed up. So we're gonna go talk to Melissa's mom, Sue, who is right here with us. So we're gonna just move the camera over. And I love everybody for joining us. Thank you.
Oh, crap.
What happened?
The
The
cord.
But the computer's still going, so.
The computer's still going. so
Okay,
you
go ahead and talk. It just doesn't have the,
Okay.
it'll come up. Go ahead. There we are.
Hello, I'm,
Just kidding. There we go. Go ahead.
my name is Grandma Sue. I love my son-in-law. He was the best son-in-law in the entire world. I loved him because of the support and the love he showed to my daughter and to my granddaughters. But most of all, I loved him for his beautiful smile, an infectious smile. The last 2 years have been a little bit difficult in my household. I lost my husband, and my life was a little bit of a challenge. But Bob would come over to the house, and the first thing he would do was give me a hug. He would hug me and he'd say, "Mom, we can do this. We can make it." And I believed him. And I just wanted to say, every time I look around the house, I see my son-in-law and his infectious smile and his saying, "Mom, we are going to do this." And when he would fall asleep on the sofa because I had classical music on,
Every time.
and
To
then,
no fail.
and then he would wake up. And afterwards I said, Bob, what am I supposed to do now? He said, "Mom, just take it easy. We will do this." So that is my remembrance of my favorite son-in-law. We can do this,
That's
and
right.
we will do this.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so,
Now it's Zach.
yeah, we'll turn this again, like this high-tech stuff here. My Uncle Zach, are you out there somewhere?
I'm trying to find him, Bella.
We're trying to find you.
There we are.
There he is. Is he in?
He's in.
Tell me, yes, I'm
Find him up
So
top.
Zach,
He's right here.
He's right there.
Okay,
So find him in the arrows.
yeah, we'd have to just get the picture on him.
Get him
find him
picture.
up top.
Yep, there you go. And scroll all the way over until you get
Uncle
his-
Zach is Binna's baby brother.
Tell him to unmute. Tell him to unmute, Dad.
And Zach, I'm giving you the message to unmute yourself.
There we go. He may not know, so he can. Let's see.
You there, Zach? All right. Who was next on our list? We're gonna come back to Zach on
We'll come
further
back to
programming change.
Joe Goodman.
Joe. Joe Goodman, are you there?
I am.
All right.
Hi.
Hey, we're making progress. We just gotta, we'll get you on the screen here. But Joe, you play a really special role in this family. I don't know if you know how big a role you make, but many people that I've met in my life can't tell you apart from Bob. I mean, honestly, they thought you were Bob, or they would come up and act. You would actually act sometimes as if you were Bob, and then Bob vice versa. Bob was Joe, Joe was Bob. So, we shared such crazy memories together. But I wanted to give you an opportunity to represent the Golden Goldsmith equal age bracket, to just kind of share some of the stuff that you think we really need to know.
Well, I was born within a year. Bob was born within a year after me, so we were very close in age. And I imagine a lot of you with very small screens, if I were to go like this and cover up without a goatee, might perhaps think they were looking exactly at him when we were kids, and even sometimes now. He was my twin-in-law. Growing up, was a wonderful thing to have Bobby as a companion. We spent an enormous amount of time together, and I sorely will miss him. When I think of him, and people say what they see when they look, when I looked at Bob, it's hard. When I looked at Bobby, it was like looking in the mirror. I mean, literally, to this day, when I look at him, I feel like I'm looking in a mirror. But we had a wonderful time growing up. And what Bill is talking about is so true. There were times whenever we were together, no matter where we were always mistaken for each other. No one ever could figure it out. My favorite thing was when I had my bar mitzvah, and at the end of the day, Bobby came up with over a dozen checks and cards that he had received throughout the day while he was making pretend that he was me. And my favorite thing in the whole world was to do exactly this opposite thing to him, no matter where we were. And if I was visiting his house and his parents would have dinner guests over, he would go off for a little while and I would be him and they wouldn't know it. And then we'd go in the back room and yuck it up about how nobody could tell the difference between us. And that was always so much fun. We would wrestle with each other every time we saw each other. And we would always just have the most wonderful time, whether it was fishing on a lake or going boating with Uncle Jack. We were very, very tight. When I went to high school in New Hampshire, I was closer to Bill and Bob than I was to my own house. And I really didn't like high school up there very much. And they rescued me every opportunity that they could. And they took good care of me when I was a kid. And it was just a wonderful thing to be part of the family. And it was a very close family at that. Later on, we got to do more adult things. I won't talk too much about those, but we always seem to have a good time together. I will miss Bobby very, very much. And I will say that he was one of the most wonderful and genuine people ever to be around. He always had the biggest smile on his face. And except for when we were fighting over toys as kids, he never used to say no. And so he was a wonderful companion right through. I was talking to a close friend of mine from Bangor the other day and explaining what had happened to Bobby. It's my friend John Miller, I'm sure that Bill will remember. And he had wonderful things to say about how Bobby used to come visit when those guys were at Bentley, and what a good time it was to be around him at all times. And I had the same conversation with my brother Sam the other day, just about how he was just the most generous, loving, and wonderful person. And I'll miss him deeply.
Thank you, Joe. That was awesome. And those were really, really happy times. And, my brother Brad today mentioned how much you two looked alike all on his own. So believe me, it was clearly understood that you could be stand-ins for each other. So, but thank you so much. Zach, did we get you?
Okay. Oh yeah, I thought I was unmuted before. However, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, you and
Okay.
Bronson. Yes.
Yeah, I think that, if I say that a second time, I think I'll be advertising for the telephone company. Can you hear me now? But anyway, Melissa, first of all, I just let me know if there's any way that I can be of help to you and the girls. My prayers go out to all of you, and bless you.
Thank you.
There are about 20 or 30 different things I could say about Bobby. And, other people are saying some of the things. Of course, he was very cheerful. He was very helpful. He was warm. He was caring. He was loving. And he was a lot of fun. Bobby was in the Boy Scouts. And from what I recall, he used to like hiking. He used to like Mother Nature. He used to like the birds. Some people just go for the birds, but anyway. But he was also like a big brother to Jeremy. He spent a lot of time trying to help Jeremy learn how to ski. That's his cousin that also lived in Lexington. And, some of the things that I recall, when my two girls from out west, or my three children, from here in Massachusetts, would go out on the boat with Uncle Jack, and Bobby would always want to be on the boat also. And I think the part of being on the boat the most was the enjoyment that he got out of everyone else in the boat when Jack was going over the rough waves and so forth, and everyone else was screaming, he was just laughing. He loved it. He loved seeing them then totally scared and yelling. But he did love being out in the boat with his father. He did love being out there in Mother Nature. I had also talked with Andy because Andy and Bobby roomed together right after college. And Andy, gave me a little story that he thought was kind of cute to pass on. Bobby at the time was not a highly religious person. However, Andy was becoming quite religious. And so a strange thing kept happening every Friday evening. And Bobby thought it was because of the little refrigerator that they had was vibrating too much, and that the light bulb inside the refrigerator would unscrew itself just because of vibration. After a month or so of this, he found out what was really happening. Andy, because it was the Sabbath, did not want the light to go on when you opened the refrigerator. So Andy, every Friday night, was unscrewing the light bulb. And so poor Bobby couldn't find whatever he was looking for in the refrigerator because the light wouldn't go on until the Sabbath was over with. But he would screw the light bulb back in. And then miraculously, it would unscrew itself again until the Sabbath was over with.
Zach, you are 100% correct. That would drive him absolutely batty. He would go on for a half hour and how upsetting that was to him that Andy would not listen and keep on doing that. And I think it went so far as him actually unplugging anything that plugged in the
Electronics,
apartment.
yes.
So
They'd be sitting in the dark,
Yeah.
eating their spaghetti.
And so, after initially they had a good laugh about it, but unfortunately it continued. And fortunately, the real fortunate thing was that nothing spoiled in the refrigerator. But nothing that they really bought to eat back then could spoil in the refrigerator anyway.
Bachelorhood.
Not at that age.
No.
But I won't forget how my girls and my son, after getting off the boat, whether it be my girls from out west or from here, they enjoyed being on the boat so much with Uncle Jack and with Bobby. And Billy, you were there at times too.
yeah, but I don't matter as much as Bob.
However, you didn't laugh quite as much as Bobby did because he thought it was hilarious that the girls were screaming. There was one time that I actually went there, got on the boat with your dad and Bobby and the girls, and it was right after one of the hurricanes. And you talked about the water being choppy. June was on the boat at the same time, and this is when the girls were quite small. June actually on some of the bumps put her body over the girls so that they wouldn't fall out of the boat. So those were really fun, good times. We're all going to miss Bobby's sense of humor, his smile, his fun-loving spirit. And God bless him. He's in a better place right now.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
Who's that bring up?
Logan, a minute. Yes, Logan.
Logan, are you out there?
I am, Bill.
All right. Logan, how the heck are you, my friend?
I'm hanging in there.
Logan, this is a tough way to meet after all this time.
It's been a long time. I know. I'm sorry about that.
Dear longtime friend of my brother who His name is Logan, and last name's Logan.
There you go.
He is about as memorable a person as I've ever had in my life, but just an awesome human being. So, Logan, take it away.
Thank you, sir. Live from Avon, Connecticut. I just wanted to first off say that it was amazing what you guys said at the funeral. I'm also going to try my hardest to keep it together. And I've heard all these great things about Bob, but I wanted to give a little additional perspective, I suppose, and hopefully you can see this. That's actually your brother, as you mentioned, when he had more curly hair.
Yes.
And that is, girls, your dad, when he and I, and that's Charlie in the middle, Charlie Walker, in his freshman year in college, almost 37 years ago.
I remember moving you guys in.
And that is actually a picture, Bill, of your mom and dad's garage, because we came to visit.
A very famous place, yes.
Yes, yes. So, so Bob and I met when we were in college at UMass, and actually because he was roommates with Charlie Walker, who was also from Lexington. And as much as all the things that have been said about Bob so far is true, there's so much more. He had an incredible laugh. If you could get him to laugh, it was mischievous. It was just awesome. And he loved, believe it or not, at that time to do pranks. And he at many times on his roommates. But he was always kind to people. And he was just there for you. And other things, because I have to, there's more, so cut me off if you need to, but it was like, one of the things that also I remember about your dad was he introduced me to music, because Bill would know this, and his brother, is that Bob was a serious sound guy, loved his music. Back then we had vinyl, which has made a comeback. But your girls, your dad had like these huge speakers in his dorm room. He was just like,
Come here.
yes, right. And back then, the coolest thing he had was like this double deck for cassette recorders, so we can make mixed tapes, okay, which would be very alien to the streaming culture of now. But your brother and dad and husband just made me introduced me to music, and it was cool. And you could go to his room, and we were cutting music late night and talking and having good times. And he was just awesome like that. And once he was your friend, you knew you made a friend for life. And the thing about him too is that when even though he didn't finish at UMass, he went to AIC, which was a tough decision for him because he made such great friends at UMass. But the great thing about that was it didn't deter him. He still remained close friends to us. And he would come, we would do parties together, probably next to music. He loved his car. Bill, I don't remember that first car. It was kind of greenish, but it was just like, if you did anything to that car, you were dead. He was just like, that was his baby. His music and his car was his thing. But of course, Bob was the only one who could drive at the time. So we tended to make sure Bob took us everywhere we could. And that was just who he was. So he would come and visit us. So whether he was at AIC or not, it didn't matter. And one of the things that I respected about him back then is it was a really tough decision for him, but he knew it was a better fit for him. And that's why he also continued on to get his master's there. He was a hard worker, and he always was. And there was a time when I used to live in West Springfield, and he was working at a audio shop, not surprising, because he was always great at sales and dealing with people, and he was just infectious. He always tried to make you feel comfortable. And I gotta show another one here. Yes, that's your dad in the middle, and he was just he was with the guys, anytime he could, he tried to be there for us. And I know you mentioned Bill about boating, but the thing is, he also was a avid skier. And back then we would he would drive up in his car again, and we would go up to skiing. And he'd say, okay, look, let's go up skiing. And it's like, all right, but don't we have a test or something tomorrow? It's like, that's all right. We'll make it back in time. So it's just like, no, we didn't. But it was like, it was great. And of course, Bob knew how to ski really, really well. And there was one time, and forgive me, I forget which cousin who, if he's here tonight, please, maybe you remember this story. It was Bob, his cousin, and myself, the newbie skier who had just learned a few months earlier. And we were going down this really, really steep slope. Yes. And your brother was kind of like, okay, no problem, cousin, no problem. They could have been like pros. All right. And they made it look so easy. Okay. So where they knew how to cut turns and stuff, I didn't know how to cut turns yet. So the simplest thing for me was to just go bullet straight down and pray I stopped in time. Well, your brother didn't tell me how dangerous that could be. So I come straight down and not realize there's a lip, or as the slope comes down, it would come back up into a bump. And I'm going like, I don't know where that bump goes. Your brother's going, I can see the fear in his face. And he's going, oh my gosh. And I'm realizing, because they haven't gone up to the higher part yet, and I'm going there and I'm skiing and I'm going like, I can just see what's over that hill. And I realize there's a sharp turn. If I keep going at the speed I'm going into the trees. So I make this rash decision to jump and twist 180 degrees. So, because for some reason I thought that might help me stop. So your brother and cousin are seeing me with my face in their direction as they slowly see me disappear over the hill in the air. And then they come around and all they can see is maybe like 30 feet down a bit. And right before the woods, my body in all sorts of weird directions. And all I remember is your brother coming up to me and saying, oh my gosh, Logan, are you alive? Are you alive? And all I was like, And I was, thankfully. But to this day, he never, ever let me forget that. And he would crack up laughing hysterically when he would tell that story to people, because he thought he lost one of his friends really right off the bat. And yeah, that always brought a smile to his face. And it was just like, oh. And that was the great thing about your dad, is like, he would do all kinds. He was funny. He was engaging. He talked to people. Everyone knows that. He was just a really great guy. And it was always awesome to go out with him. And one of the things that was really great is when he finally became a dad, and that was really important to him. And when he made the decision to be a father and to have family, you could tell that that was 100% commitment. You could tell, no matter all the other things that we did, that was the most important thing to him. And I have to admit, one thing I was thinking about before this, Melissa, I was a little jealous of you, because before he met you, Bob, sometimes, when he was just a single dad and he was there with Brooke, and it was just like, it was tough for a single dad kind of thing. So myself, his friend, Sean Daly, and I, who were single at the time, and for maybe the older folks out there might remember a movie called
3 Men and a Baby.
3 Men and a Baby. So we desperately, Sean and I were saying to him, because I think at this point he had just moved down to Virginia, and it was just like, are you sure you're okay there? It's like, you can come back. We'll all live together. We'll all take care of the baby with you. It's all right. It'll be great. And now I said, this is a good fit for me now. I'm going to give a shout, but I just had to say that like there was a real tug there, but we would have done it. And for the and I'm so glad he didn't, because it's like that's when he got to meet you, Melissa. And like you truly were the love of his life, and you truly made him more complete than I had seen him in a very long time. And he was just, and then you guys would come up to visit, and it was just like you knew that he finally found a happy place for him. And he made a great family with you, and he was a great dad. I had the good fortune to talk to him a few days after his birthday, because we would talk a lot every few months to keep in touch and talk about our kids. And I feel really, really grateful that I got to speak with him after his birthday. And he was just so proud of his girls and looking forward to the graduation. And just nothing could shake him. He sounded like he was in a good place. And I just said, you know, you deserve it, Bob. And I just want to say that it's just like you guys had a remarkable brother, an awesome dad, awesome husband, great friend. And he's definitely looking down at you guys and will be your guardian angels. I guarantee you that.
Logan, thank you so much.
Thank you, Logan.
Hey, Logan, you actually reminded me of something. You know,
Uh-oh.
that green car was my baby. I forced my cousin who owned the dealership that was selling it to undo the deal that someone else had done to get it. Bob went down there in the middle of the night. Security actually tried to see what we were doing and everything. I used that for everything. It was the base of my whole social life.
Yeah.
Including with Bob. And then Bob took it over, and I know he used it up, right?
Oh yeah.
Really used it up, because he got back in touch with me a little later on and said, "Hey, Bill, you know, I love the Aspen and everything, but I need to, I'm going to give it back to you now, because, you know, I'm going to get a new car and stuff." And I'm like, okay. So we did get it to my driveway at the time, of which the entire engine's oil spilled over my entire driveway. The car was dead, the back end had seized, and I had to make arrangements for a junkyard to actually come and take it away. But Bob did thoroughly enjoy that car. Yes, and we did share in beginning and end together. Yes, definitely. Also, I just have to point something out I meant to earlier, and I mean to now, is that Melissa pointed out Bob's awkward dance moves. You have to keep something in mind here. Bob was the dancer of our family, so if you wanted to see awkward dance moves, look at myself or my brother Brad. That was awkward dance moves. Bob was John Travolta reinvented. So you know, I think that, you know, as awkward as you might have thought, it could have been worse.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
So I think, was it Miriam?
Yes.
So Miriam Sidman, are you there?
Yeah, we love you, Logan.
Yes. Thank you, Logan. No, she must have popped off.
No, I don't see her.
She's not here. It's
Okay.
in alphabetical order.
Then
So we'll go
Mark and Carolyn, are you there?
Yeah, here.
Yay!
Okay, good. We're gonna find you.
Loud
We can get you
and
on the screen.
Hold on.
You know, for
Everyone, the first.
listening to all,
Where'd they go?
listening,
Go back. There you go, right there.
Okay,
Yay!
there we go.
There you're on.
Modern inventions.
listening to the family and the friends. Carolyn and I and many others first met the Goldens back in the early 60s, mid 60s, when we all moved into Lexington and were members of our Temple Amuna. And our good friend Bob was born in 65. We went close to Bob, not as close to Bob or the boys or the family itself, other than what we were told by Binner and Jack. And Binner and Jack, Carolyn and I, and the Walks and others had a real close relationship. And we know that Bob was called Mr. Family. Yes, he was. We heard that. And when we always asked Jack, where is Mr. Family now? This is 10, 15 years later. His answer was, I don't know. Why don't you know where your son is? Well, he moved all the time. Massachusetts, he lived. He lived in Connecticut, moved down to Florida, 20 odd years in Virginia, always moving
Until Virginia.
with his family. He was such a wonderful man, like all the B boys, the B sons, Bob, Bill, and Brad. It was always a pleasure to be in their company when they were around, because they took, especially Bob, took after his father and his mother. So much so that we became the family with Bob and the other two boys. He will be sorely missed. Life goes on. And Melissa, we know your life with your two daughters will go on as well.
And your mother.
And it's wonderful to see sitting next to you, Melissa, is your mother.
Yes, I'm very blessed.
God bless her and God bless all of you.
Thank you. Thank you
Mark.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to say a few words. And now I'll turn it back over to Bill. Thank you, Bill. Nice to see you again.
Thank you, Mark, and we appreciate your words and remembrances of our parents, because that's obviously a huge part of our life and certainly something that Bob never forgot. We are, I think at this time, is it Mark Trevor?
Yeah, Mark Trevor.
Mark Trevor.
Well, hello. I was at today's ceremony, and it's really so nice to see everybody without masks.
Yeah.
So I'm just studying everybody's faces here, and I've known Bob. I knew Bob. Met Bob and Melissa over 20 years ago, and Bob and I have been friends all that time. We shared life's memories, as I mentioned in today's talk. We shared birthdays together. We shared holidays. I was at their wedding. I remember some of you there as well. We even shared vacations together. I have so many memories of Bob. It's hard to just pick a couple to talk about, but there are a couple that I mentioned today, and I'll reiterate them here tonight. That I mentioned that remind me of Bob. For those of you who know him well, you'll recognize some of his traits in these stories, and hopefully it'll make you smile just a little bit inside. At least I hope it will. So I knew Bob. I met him. We both worked at WR Systems together. I had actually been there before he started, but when Bob came on board, we had met a few times in the office, but it was really after a company event that was down in Richmond that we got to know each other. Our families were both staying. It was even before Bob and Melissa were married. Can I say that, Melissa? You guys were down there before you were married in a hotel together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For those of you youngsters, I'm sure they were in separate beds. Okay. At any rate, we had started to get to know the Goldens, the Trevor family, wife and I, my kids, and as we got to know them better, we had breakfast with them the next morning. We decided that there was a go-kart place on the way out of town that we would go ahead and stop there and ride some go-karts together. So we did that, and we stopped there. And in fact, a lot of the other folks that were from WR Systems also were stopped at that place with us, and may even remember this story. But My son, Stephen, who's in his 30s now, he was about 12 years old at the time. And he was in line to ride the go-karts with myself and Bob and a whole bunch of other people, probably about 20 or so other folks. A number of them also were folks that were from WR. And Stephen had checked his height to see that he was tall enough to ride the go-karts before he, before he went ahead and got in line and waited his turn. He was just tall enough, according to the markings on the wall that you use to measure yourself while you're waiting to ride. But after waiting that long line, he got all the way up to the front and he got to his cart. And the young guy that was running the place looked at him and told him that he wasn't, in fact, tall enough to ride. And so, even after having waited that entire period of time, he dismissed Stephen, not even letting him plead his case. He even started to motion to some of the other folks that were in line to come on over and take his cart. Bob, seeing all of this, seeing that Stephen was heartbroken, took up his cause. From his place standing in line, Bob started repeating, "Let the kid ride. Come on, man, let the kid ride." More than that, Bob held up the line, not letting the rest of the riders go through and letting anyone sort of take Stephen's cart until his grievance could be heard. Soon, everyone in line, there was about 20 of us, were all following Bob's lead. Everybody was chanting, "Let him ride. He's tall enough, man, let him ride." Bob and the rest of the crowd left the guy no choice but to call over his manager to check this out. So the manager came over and he measured my son, and sure enough, he was tall enough to ride. Due to Bob's persistence, Stephen, with a smile on his face, that day rode. And that was Bob. He was always advocating for others. He was righting wrongs wherever he saw them. He was the guy that made sure that you were okay. He took the time to see what was going on with people around him. And he was always there to help. He often didn't ask, he just did. And so that's one story. Another one, I remember a few years later, I was building an addition onto my house, and as part of the addition, I needed to buy some windows. And so Bob offered to help me come out and get these windows. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, it's about an hour or so at Home Depot, and I should have my windows. I was wrong. Bob, of course, took up the mission to help me get the best windows in the world at the very best price ever offered. So we went to a number of stores. Each time I'd ask a few questions of the salespeople. Bob would take over. He rolled out a list of questions so long it reminded me of Santa Claus Naughty or Nice list. He'd researched every aspect of home windows and written down every question you could possibly ask about windows. He started getting answers from the salesperson on each aspect and went through that. He was meticulous. Once he was done, we consulted, and finally I picked out and bought the very best window at the very best price ever offered, thanks to Bob. But that was Bob, right? He worked harder than me. He worked harder for my thing than I did for myself. A few days later, even after I'd purchased the windows, he started sending me consumer reports to make sure that I had still made the best purchase possible. Bob had an innate ability to sense what people around him needed and to provide it. He had compassion for people. He saw what others missed. Simply put, Bob cared. And knowing Bob and Melissa and Brooke and Tori, and having my kids grow up alongside theirs, vacationing together and working together, and watching him and his wife and his kids, watching how he cared, made me a better man. That's what Bob did. He made you a better person. And so I will miss Bob. And I appreciate you all letting me share those thoughts with you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you,
Thank
Mark.
you so much.
My pleasure.
Miriam, are you there yet?
I don't think she ever got on.
Okay, so with that, is this
I think this is open
Okay,
if
so
they wish, otherwise we'll have to slide.
what we can do now is, if there's anybody out there that wants to tell a few stories or say a few things to the family or others about Bob, this is perfect opportunity to just step in. It could be as short as you want it to be. And probably as this thing's gone on, probably not super, super long at this point, but please, please just start talking and then we can focus on you and then we can just.
Billy, this is Deanna and Sid Walk. I'd like to say just a brief couple of words if I can.
Wonderful.
Yes, we'd love for you to. Thank you.
Of course, we go back to the whole Lexington group from way, way, way back when. Billy always was fun. Billy was fun. Billy, you were always fun. Nice, a little more serious, but your brother was a riot all the time. From day one, his smile, his demeanor was infectious, and he's something that you really will miss, but you have wonderful memories. Every day that you look in the mirror, guys, you all remember the smiling face and all that he meant. Well, I did want to give you one incident. We were very close with your dad and your mother. And one day we took a ride in a boat. Your dad was always fooling around with this and that. And he drilled something in the boat and all of a sudden.
He put a toilet in the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as we rode out to the middle of the Boston Harbor, the boat started to take on water. And, your father, didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do. Your mother had made a wonderful lunch for all of us to sit and enjoy. So we sat with our feet in water and pulled up to the dock in Boston Harbor and we ate our lunch. And the water never got higher than, an inch or two. And then we went back to where we had dropped off, had gotten the boat, had pulled it in. And when we pulled it out, it turned out that when your father had put in this wonderful toilet, he had drilled through the hull.
And so we had water in our feet and I had water in my pants from it.
And then your dad had to take the boat to the boat repair place. And he said everyone that saw him just was laughing when they saw him because he was so proud of his handiwork.
You guys came from a wonderful background, a wonderful family, and it's nice to see you all still together, still caring for each other, as you always have been. Stay well, all of you, and Melissa, the very best of luck to you and the whole family. Stay well, healthy, and safe, and all our love from Deanna and Sid Walk.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the Walk family. Jason Long, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I have not known the Goldens for as long as all of you have. I met them through mutual friends, the Trevors, a couple years ago, probably in 2006, 2007. The thing that I remember about Bob is that from the moment that I met him, he was welcoming. He was an amazing person to know. His laugh was infectious. And he was always willing to give great advice. And through the time that I knew him, when I was living across from Mark Trevor and Meg Trevor, and going through a difficult time in my life, Mark Trevor gave me great advice, but Bob would give great advice also, and he was always willing to give that great advice selflessly. And so the other thing that I want to say about Bob is that, and this is kind of hard because I know Brooke and Tori are going through a hard time right now. I was 42 and 7 months ago, I lost my dad. And so I don't care what age you're at, it doesn't get easier. But you move on. You have to remember the good times, you have to remember the bad times, you have to just remember him every day. And Melissa, you know, anytime you need me, you know, we've talked throughout these last couple weeks. Anytime you need me, just let me know. But I will never forget Bob's laugh. It was infectious. When we were at Lake Anna, when we were on vacation, you know, it didn't matter. We were always having fun. And so just remember the good times. And, you know, you guys will get through this. Call me anytime.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you.
Hi, this is Sam Goodman. I'd like to say a few words, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So I want to tell a quick story about when Bob and I went on a Caribbean cruise back in 1992, a very long time ago. So I got an opportunity to spend, when we were kids, we spent a lot of time together in Lexington when we came down from Maine. I'm Bob's first cousin. You probably know that already. But anyway, I went to Northeastern University in Boston. And so I was there. And as Logan mentioned earlier, Bob worked for a consumer electronics store in West Springfield. And he was an outstanding salesperson because he loved electronics and he knew everything about them. And he was really a great salesperson. So he won a Caribbean cruise because he was one of the top people. So he called me up. I was, I think, a junior or senior at Northeastern University. And he said, "Hey, Sam, you want to be my date?" I said, "Bob, what are you talking about?" He said, "I won a Caribbean cruise. You want to be my date?" I said, "Absolutely, Bob, let's go." And it was a miracle that we even made the the flight down to Florida to get on the cruise. And it was a miracle we actually made it onto the cruise ship because you guys know Bob, he was always a little bit, a little bit late for everything. But we went on the cruise and we had the time of our lives. And I have a picture here. I'm not going to hold it up. I should, but I'm not going to hold it up. But it was Bob and I on the cruise ship, and the curly hair and the infectious smile. Okay, all right, hang on a second. And just, we had the time of our lives. And here we go. Let's see. I don't know. Can you guys see it?
Oh, yeah.
And it was just,
It does look like you.
yeah. And I was going through, oh, wait, hold on a second. Yep. Here's us at the, there were, you go on a cruise and you have these dinners every night. And we just had a wonderful time. Sorry. Anyway, excuse me. But, and then after that, few years after that, Bob had moved back to the Boston area when my Uncle Jack got sick, and Bill and Bob and I worked together at a company in the Boston area. And I used to go, what's that? We had some fun times together. And one of the things about Bob is that he did everything 1,000%. And I would remember at the end of the day, I would go over to Bob's, we worked in cubicles. Bill was a bigwig, he had an office, but Bob and I, we had cubicles. And I would go over to Bob's cubicle at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, and I would say, "Bob, what are you doing? You should go home." And he wouldn't go home because he would sit there and he would continue to do work. because he would do things 1000%. And everything had to be 1000% with him. And that's
I love that, Sam. I agree with you. You're
what I
right.
remember about Bob.
Thank you.
Sam, love you.
Thanks.
Is there anybody else? Here that-
I'd love to say something if that's okay.
Absolutely.
I don't want to keep people long because I know it's been a long time, but after I'm a second cousin once removed of Bobby and Billy and Brad and Sammy and Joey and David and Lisa, and they were cousins. I'll start by saying at Binna's Zoom remembrance, I wanted really badly to say hi to everybody because I haven't been in touch with you all for a long time, and you were so important in my young years. And you were adopted closer cousins because I didn't have first cousins that were close to my age like you all did. And we lived in DC and came up in the summer times and had wonderful, wonderful times. I will never, ever forget. It might have been my first boat ride on Jackie's boat with you guys. And it was the time of my life. I had a picture, I wish I could find it, of Bobby's golden curls with the sun shining on him. That is forever my picture of him in my head. It was from when we were teenagers. And I came up to look at colleges my junior year in high school. And obviously my mom and Binna must have arranged for me to stay there, and roped Bobby and I think Logan. I'm not sure. I think you two took me on some college tours. Probably not how you wanted to spend your spring break, but I had a great time, and it was so. I went to parties, and we got really close, and I spent a lot of time with Bob and all of you guys in those years. I have really, really fond memories of that time. And then life gets away from you, and it's been too long. And after seeing you all at Binna's, I wanted to say something. Hi, I love you guys. It's been too long. Let's catch up. And I told myself, oh, it's too many other people, and it's not really the right time. It's too long. It's been too long already. And I didn't, and I meant to call him. We were close. I came down to Fort Myers, Brooke, when you were tiny, and spent some time with the two of you. And he was, as everybody is saying, just such a light person, and so loving and so fun, and brought me in as a cousin, even though I was distant and could never remember what kind of cousin I was. Wow, I'm Billy, you probably remember that too. What, how exactly were we related? And it didn't matter after a certain point. And I said, I cannot believe he's gone. I wish I knew you, Melissa and Brooke and Tori, better. And I had my mind set on getting in touch after that, and it pains me deeply to know that I lost the chance to do that. So I'm saying it now. I love you all. I'm so glad to see you, even remotely, and I hope that I can see you in person soon. I am in Boston, so anybody who passes through in that gang, I'd love to reconnect. I think of you very fondly, and I want to say it out loud this time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Gracie, would you like to speak, sweetheart?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Gracie.
Can you hear me well?
We can hear you very well.
We're trying to.
Okay, well, hi everyone. I'm Tori's best friend. Oh gosh. Give me a moment. I'm sorry.
It's It's okay, Gracie. You're all right, sweetheart. Thank you for talking. I think it's very sweet of you, and I
Brothers.
know it means a lot to Tori, so thank you.
Gracie doesn't have a camera, so she's.
Yes, she
Oh,
does.
no, yeah, there she is.
There we go.
Your purple pink room.
I'm really bad at these kind of things, but I just feel like I needed to say something for Tori and Brooke. I'm so sorry. Hold on.
It's okay, sweetheart. Thank you.
But I just wanted to say a few things about Bob. But he has always treated me like one of his own daughters. And one thing that I will always remember about him is definitely his smile and how kind he was to everyone around him. And one thing that was my favorite was always going to this Italian restaurant. It's his favorite Italian restaurant, and but he always knows how to make everybody laugh. And I just want to say he was an amazing dad to Tori and Brooke and an amazing husband to Melissa. And I love you guys so much, and I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you, Gracie. Thank you very much. That was very sweet of you. Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Andy Tabor wants.
Oh.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi.
Andy.
So, for those who don't know, my father-in-law Herb, who is my husband Ken's dad, was married to Binna. So, we met Bob and Bill and Brad at Binna and Herb's wedding, and I, remember all of them so welcoming us so well, but especially Bob because of that smile that you all talk about. So ever since we heard the news, I've been trying to wrap my head around how is this possible? And trying to make sense of something. And I realized that you can't make sense of certain things. Certain things are just tragedies, and this is one. Because it's always a tragedy when somebody younger is lost, but somebody like Bob who would light up a room when he walked in, and who did so much for everybody else and who had such a beautiful family, it's especially hard to try to make sense of. So I think we just can't, there is no sense, but we can just remember him. I think the world truly lost a ray of its own sunshine when Bob passed. So I was trying to think of some way to comfort Melissa and Tori and Brooke, and words seemed really inadequate, but I did find something written by a rabbi that always brought me comfort when I lost my parents and during difficult times. So with your permission, I would just like to read it.
Please share.
Okay. When I die, if you need to weep, cry for someone walking the street beside you. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands and souls touch souls. You can love me most by sharing your goodness and multiplying your acts of kindness. You can love me most by letting me live in your eyes and not on your mind. And when you say Kaddish for me, remember what our Torah teaches. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away.
Thank you.
And,
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Andy.
Well, I know he has left a legacy of love, and that will live on forever. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Is Dave Brower here?
Dave Brower wants to talk. He's
Gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. I'll make this kind of quick. I have as many stories as anyone else. I worked with Bob for the whole time he was at WR Systems until I retired 5 years ago. And like I say, stories I could tell all day, night long. I will add to everyone's saying about how caring he was. I can't count the number of times he came into my office and sat down with a somber face and, Dave, are you okay? Or maybe someone else he would ask about. So he was a very caring. I don't think I ever heard Bob ever say anything angry to me. He's about the only guy in the world I can say that about. But I could tell some stories, but I won't. But I wanted to say that I desperately tried to call him on his birthday. I was driving up north to Virginia. I had a granddaughter being born who actually was born on his birthday. So I'll like to be able to remember his birthday. It's very special to me. And I never got a hold of him. For those who work with him, you know that he liked to spend a lot of time on the phone, or he did spend a lot of time on the phone. So he was, I even tried the old house phone number and that was disconnected. So finally I sent him a text, and this is what I said. I said, how the hell can I leave you a obscene voicemail if your voicemail box is full? Well, happy birthday anyway. Hope it's been grand. Well, the next day he got back to me. He says, thank you for your obscene message. I can only imagine how dirty it could have been. I will try to touch base with you later today. That's the last I've heard from him, but I'm glad at least I had that. And one thing I wanted to say, you know, Melissa and the girls, Brooke and Tori, I can't imagine the emptiness you guys are feeling, but I know that I'm fuller from knowing Bob and working with us so long, and also Melissa for getting to know you, who has to be one of the sweetest women I've ever met in my life. And knowing so much about your two daughters, more than they think that probably I would know, because they don't know me very well, but Bob liked to share, and he certainly knew everything about mine. So, you know, rest in peace, my friend, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dave. I appreciate it. He cared for you very much. And I'm sorry you guys did not reach out or touch base before. But
Yeah.
I'm glad you have that message.
Yeah, I'll preserve it.
Anybody else that would like to add a quick message? Well,
Hello,
hi. Who's this?
the son. My name's Dave Arnold. I just wanted to share a couple quick stories about Bob. Also to echo Mark's sentiments about the mask and Logan's regarding Melissa. You know, we had a lot of concern with Bob, or for Bob, in the Florida days, but none in the Virginia days. So thank you, Melissa, for all you do and have done. The first thing I thought of when thinking about this was, you know, I met Bob in college. He was he was starting his MBA, and I was halfway through an undergraduate program at AIC, and we decided to take a trip one day up towards Northampton. And Bill, I'm not sure if this is the green car or not. It's so many years ago, but we're on the highway. We get off the highway, take a left. Bob took the turn pretty much as slowly as he would getting ready to go somewhere. And so I clip his bumper, and you can imagine what that did. And we get over, we pull over, and thank God, you know, there's no marks on the car or anything. And I'm like, you know, you got a real nice car here. Are you going to start driving it now or what? So that was, I started a new job in March, and I go by that same exit. I have to go that way twice a week, and I always smile going there, even before that, but now it's more frequent. So the second story we've mentioned a bunch of times, Sound Playground, the electronics store, and Bob was kind enough to hire me for about 6 months. I was selling insurance and getting a different license. It was pretty expensive. He knew I needed the extra money. So I worked at the store with him for about 6 months, starting in September. Thanksgiving rolls around, Black Friday, and we started at like some ridiculous hour, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And we had 2 answer machines that were on sale. One was $19. You made 25 cents if you sold that. There was another one for $22. You made $2 if you sold that. So the MO, so to speak, was the $19 machine was out of stock. So another guy we work with, this lady comes in and talks to him. And he says, you know, ma'am, he goes, this is what we call a loss leader. It's designed to bring you into the store. And that machine is out of stock, but we do have this one over here for $22. And I said, Keith, his name is Keith. And I said, Keith, just stop talking, ma'am. I'll be right back. I run and grab Bob. Bob smoothed the whole thing over, and she ended up buying the $22 answer machine. So, but that was a moment I'll never forget with him, was that thanks for letting me talk.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
All right.
So we're gonna start the slideshow to just finish things up. We want to thank you for your participation and time. We really love you for being part of the family and sharing these moments.
Over mountains, over trees, over oceans, over the seas, across the desert, I'll be there. In the whisper on the wind, on the smile of a new friend. Just think of me, I'll be there. Don't be afraid, oh my love. I'll be watching you from above. 'Cause I give all the world tonight just to be with you. 'Cause I'm on your side, I still care. Might have died, but I gone nowhere. Just think of me, I'll be there. On the edge of a waking dream, over rivers, over streams, wind and rain, I'll be there. Across the wide open sky, thousands of miles I'd fly to be with you. I'll be there. Don't be afraid, oh my love. I'll be watching you from above. 'Cause I give all the world tonight just to be with you. 'Cause I'm on your side, I still care. Might have died, but I gone nowhere. Just think of me, I'll be there. Breath on wind that sighs. Oh, there's no need to cry. Just think of me, I'll be there. Don't be afraid, oh my love. I'll be watching you from above. 'Cause I give all the world tonight just to be with you.
Thank you.
A lot.
Yeah, Bob had a lot of hairstyles. At the end, it was maybe he even lacked hairstyle, but
Bill, great job.
thank you for everybody participating. It was very, very special. And I'll be reaching
Yeah.
out to you separately. Thank
You know, God bless, God bless the family.
Thank you.
We
Thank
love
you
you.
very much.
We
We
love
love
you
you
all.
all. Thank you all for being here for us. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.